everybody to the Town of Waterboro Planning Board for September 3rd, 2025. Angela, can we start with roll call?
Rick Monroe.
Here.
Rebecca Higgins.
Here.
Stacy Walker.
Here.
Diane Gray.
Here.
Jill Prescott.
Here.
All right, next on the agenda is public hearing for 200 Main Street, David Alves, Salco Realty Associates LLC.
And I wish to recuse myself from this portion of the meeting.
So why don't we start with an overview? We don't have anybody in attendance, but we could have somebody online, so we'll do the same overview.
Okay, yep. What I was just gonna do is kind of just go through the
Yep.
plans.
Absolutely, exactly.
I'm Dan Butler, working for Dave and my associate over there, Steve. In summary, new development, it's gonna be, we're gonna have 3 commercial buildings on 200 Main Street, and then 350, I get that summary up there in the upper left, but 350 feet behind the commercial space is where we're gonna have 3 12-unit buildings, total of 36 apartments, a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units. Of the 19.42 acres, we're only developing 5.89, and the remaining 13.5, which is going to be to the south, I guess, south of the development, will be open to, made available to the public through a network of trails and things. So there's, that's a cover sheet right now, and to the right, the drawings, that's what we're looking at. Right now, this is the preliminary. We've done more work on it, but this is what was submitted as part of the preliminary. This is what was approved. And I did put a little bit of, might as well use it. I did include some a new drawing we have there, which is the actual a plan view of the commercial building. So. I don't know how to go next, or does it just say next?
Say next.
Okay, thank you. Again, this is just kind of summarizes the in the rear of the last drawing is actually the subdivision plan. It's not included in this package, but basically this kind of is a summary of it. It's not the plan, but this is basically what you're looking at is property lines. The development's going to be in this area. Next. Summary. Here's a commercial building there, and these are the 3 units. Parking. We have a maintenance building with 5 parking stalls. These are bioretention basins now. Initially, we were looking at infiltration basins. At least this one here, we're not. The flow rate is too much, and so we'd rather we'll just do bioretention. And I think there's a large bioretention basin here, so we're going to be using something similar to what's being used at the hospital. We've got 3 of them. This hasn't changed much. This access, this is emergency access around the facility. Any questions, anybody? Next. Thank you.
Are we allowed to ask questions now, or wait till the public piece?
No, we have to wait till
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Questions up for the board.
Oh. Grading plan. This is still being tweaked, because this retention basin is going to be up in this area, only to get better separation between groundwater. Groundwater is a little higher here, so we're going to relocate over there. But for the most part, grading everything in this area, everything pretty much going to drain to the center basin, and here about this area, everything's going to drain to this guy, and then everything from here is going to drain to this basin. Next. Utility. One of the good benefits of this project, is we're going to extend the water main up here so that we can obviously get potable water and fire protection water. But so the water will run up to here. Yeah, well, you see the water line run along, you get your loop. But, water's, no sewer, sanitary sewer is gonna be leach fields, septic systems, appropriately sized. Stormwater, again, like I said earlier, everything's gonna drain to our basins. It'll provide both treatment and quantity, such that after the development, well, when the development is complete, you should not have any increase in runoff. And if there is an increase in runoff, it's gonna be de minimis, because one thing about A soils, this is really highly, it's a free draining material that if you've got no runoff now, we are introducing impervious. We're gonna try to maintain no runoff, but when I say no runoff, I'm talking like 0.1 CFS, which if you see 0.2 CFS, no one will be able to tell the difference. So, but we're gonna do our best to bring it down to nothing. So, next. Erosion control during construction, and obviously up until the area is fully stabilized. Next. Profiles, utilities, there's the water main, there's the roadway profile. Again, we're still tweaking this area here, because we want that bioretention basin. Again, it's gonna collect all this area here. And we do get run-on stormwater from the hospital. Not much we can do with that, except we just gotta take it. And that's also kind of impacting us a bit. So, the drainage system will extend beyond here, onto the other side, into the rear here. So that's what we're doing, that's what we're working on now. So, next. Typical details, roadway sections. It'll be well-built road. DOT materials, these are crosswalks, curbing, 2 minutes curbing. Next. Continue with the details. This is, in the final drawings, you're gonna see the bioretention details. The bioretention basins are gonna be per the main DEP. Again, I was talking with them, we were gonna go infiltration, like I said, and infiltration, it's gonna require a geologist, one of their geologists to look at it, and it also maintains, you have to have more separation than groundwater, and the bioretention is just, even though bioretention can take a lot less, it's not like we're dealing with 15 acres, it's, each of the bioretentions are probably a little over an acre, which is fine. And we just gotta go that approach as opposed to the infiltration. So, again, I think it fits the site better. Especially again, where I was saying, the infiltration rates are too high. They exceed what Maine allows. So we've gotta back that up by putting a liner in. We're gonna put a geo-woven liner in between, so. That's in a nutshell for the bioretention, but again, finalized, we'll have the details here. So. Next. Erosion control notes, details. Next. Same thing, check dams. Next. Phasing. I think we wrote about the phasing in the memo, I believe, was it May? The memo in May. Talked about phasing 1 and 2, and again, as financially where it makes sense to with the phasing. I think it's in the memo. Again, you guys do have that. trust me, you guys have it. I was trying to call it up to see the date and stuff, but we actually go into a little further detail in the memo on phasing, so. Next. Lighting plan. We're not gonna extend, that's the intent is, we don't wanna extend over here and beyond, really outside where it's needed, or into people's bedrooms either, so it's kind of a good thing. Next. Landscaping. A lot of this will just revert to where it used to, what it is now. Ultimately, we're not clearing this anyways. Right? The intent is, this area here is just gonna end up being, reverting to, I don't think you're not gonna mow that, are you?
Well, what?
Mow beyond the.
Light green, that's all woods.
Yeah, right now it was, once it's graded, it's going to be, we're gonna seed it obviously, but then it'll just be brush, and basically come up to, revert to brush.
What about around the units?
Running units, that should be lawn
Yeah.
and mowing,
Hmm.
so, nothing extraordinary, I mean, obviously, we do have some bushes and trees planned, kind of beautify it. Next. Building egress. Red dots signify where you get out, in and out, basically. Next. Here's the drawing for the commercial building. This is gonna be on Main Street, 200 Main Street. Not bad looking. But these will be 3 separate, 1,000 square foot each. Obviously, this will be what it looks like on Main Street, and this will be, I believe that's the rear. Or is it the other way around? Wait.
No, it's the.
Yes, yeah, that's the rear, right?
Mhm.
This is what it's gonna look like on Main Street. No, wait a minute. South is towards our development.
South will be the back.
Yeah, so this is what it's gonna look like on Main Street.
No.
We may wanna look,
No.
you want this?
Yeah.
Backwards.
Okay.
Okay. Next. Test pits. These are the test pits that we did. We did 10 test pits throughout. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them for the septic systems. And then we did, to meet, I think we actually exceeded DEPs in terms of infiltration. We did actually two infiltration tests. We actually had SW Cole provide us the geotech information, the infiltration information. And we also have borings. The borings is gonna be the next page, but I wanted to point this out here. This is the actual walkway. I think that was a requirement or an ask. I think that was an ask from our development here to the hospital. So that is a walkway. Obviously, this will be put on the other drawings as well. But this is just something that this happened between April and actually June and now, about inserting that walkway. But it's the underlying soils are pretty consistent. Some B soils, well drained, like I said. Groundwater is fairly deep, 2 feet plus. Each of these, due to the large, because the infiltration fields, the leach fields have to be at least 2 feet away from the groundwater, and that's due to the size of these, because it's just the sizing of the yard, the sizing of these fields actually was tripped by the buildings. Just the fact that you had, 8 and 8, So you had 8 singles and 8 doubles, and they just tripped over the.
6 and 6.
6 and 6, yeah, you're right, yeah. 6 and 6, and that combination increased the size of the field. And also, because of that, the actual distance from the groundwater required. But again, we meet and exceed that. So, next, test bits. Ken Gardner's our guy. He's gonna be designing the septic systems. Next. I think that's it.
Any,
Any
Questions?
comments from the public? Do I need to go to the speaker, or can everybody hear me? Do I need to go to the speaker? Okay. Is it on? Stacy Walker, I'm a butter to this property, and I've heard 4 comments that I need some clarification on. Earlier in the description, you said that the public space behind will be available to the public by a network of trails. Can you explain what that means? And will the trails only be accessible entrances and exits by your property, on your property?
They're not gonna be groomed. If there's selective cutting, wherever a skidder would go through, that would be cleaned up and left as a trail.
Okay, but all trails would be specific, only accessible via your property?
Or
That, I think, was a decision early on that we had you change, that it would not be publicly available through the railroad bed. That was early on in one of our first meetings,
I thought it was just the opposite.
because the railroad bed is not public at this point. It's being maintained by an individual who owns either side of the railroad bed.
Okay.
yeah, that's fine.
You added that you changed drainage behind the maintenance building. Can you pull up that picture? So there's a brook, I believe, that runs right behind your maintenance
Yeah.
building. And
Was it
how
brook?
far does the drainage go towards that brook?
Brook Creek, I think it is. Go to the, oh boy, C, yeah, keep going, C, yeah, keep going.
I can see like a full property.
Yeah, keep going, it's like C2, something like that. Oh, C1, one more, yep, right there. Here's the- Yeah, Cook's Brook, here it is, right there.
So it's quite a distance from your, that
It
your
is.
maintenance. Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
I had the visual on that, so I knew
Yeah.
how it was. And the trails, accessible trails will be just on that property that's marked right here, on and off from your property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Curious about the infiltration system versus the bio-retention that's been changed? Is that only because it's more effective?
No, we were looking at just the infiltration. Is it Dave? Could you just go to C2? Yeah, right there, the infiltration, that, we were gonna go in, infiltration basin there. That one there, we had, the SW coal testing indicated we had like a 1.2 inch per hour. That one would have worked well as an infiltration basin. It has to be 3 feet, it has to be 18 inches thick, but 3 feet from groundwater. And infiltration basins, making this work, it just would have been more, not money-wise, but more time-consuming, and the state geologist would have to look at that. And we could just go, we could make the very same thing, we can have as effective system with bioretention basins. And that's why we went bioretention.
And those basins aren't checked by,
Yeah,
Say
they'll
they are
be,
too, okay.
yeah, everything,
Okay.
nothing will be approved until the DEP approves it.
all right? And the only last question I had was around your units and all those entrances. Are they gonna be public access, or are they gonna be locked down with fobs, whoever owns so that not everybody can enter the building, only people who, I'm just curious about security if I was gonna live in that apartment.
It's a very astute question. It makes sense.
Just thought,
It's good thought. It makes sense.
that's all I have.
Thank you. Alright, doesn't look like we have anybody else here. Angela, did you receive anything ahead of the meeting?
No.
I think with that, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for 200 Main Street.
Okay, all those in favor? Alright, so next on the agenda, old business, 200 Main Street, David Adams, Saco Realty Associates LLC.
Did you say?
Yeah, you are next on the agenda under old business.
Oh. Okay.
Wow.
If you have anything to add.
Oh, okay.
But there's no additional material submitted for this meeting.
Okay, that's what
There's no
yeah,
decision.
I didn't see anything, so, okay, so it's only if you had something to report, right? It's kind of just
Yeah,
as a follow-up, if we had questions, I guess maybe based on what they presented, or, does anybody on the board have questions based on what we just heard?
Nope.
I'd like to ask now.
No.
You have nothing new to submit at this point, or any updates, other than what you just discussed, obviously, so.
and I just wanna clarify that any comments heard by Stacy as a public member should be taken as public comment. And, so just like maybe discussing the board's interpretation of the trail, decision, cause it sounded like you all said yes to that change, but just since Stacy was speaking as a member of the public, make sure that that's something that the board gives direction on before a decision is made on that.
So tonight, or as we continue to
As
go
we
down the road,
continue
right,
to
okay,
go down the road,
okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, yes, I took a note of that. Presentation. Okay, so I think, other than that, I think we're all set for tonight, and continue to receive updates and move forward.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Next under old business, F&A A&R zone change amendment update.
Round two, Steve.
Sorry, you had to go back to the select board.
So, after the last meeting, where I didn't get a lot of support, I decided to resubmit as an amendment to the F&A zone. Meaning it would just amend the F&A, we weren't gonna do anything else other than change the density requirement from 5 acres to 120,000 square feet, which is 3 building acres. And have the same setbacks as the A&R zone. So the front setback would be from 100, which it is now, to 75, and the sides would go from 50 to 35. That's what I'm proposing for the amendment.
How is that different than what you proposed in the first place?
Well, I was going to eliminate the F&A zone.
Correct, which would have by default made it the same
As they
zoning as
are.
they are, which is what you're
Well,
proposing.
uses, there was a little bit of
Okay, so
stuff in the use.
proposing no change to the uses, then, that would remain the same as well.
Yep. The F&A zone would remain the same as it is right now, other than the density and the setbacks.
Well, when you say
AR is 1.86 acres as well, so he's still
Okay.
keeping.
Still keeping a little bit bigger than,
explain density, what do you mean by density?
Well, the lot size.
lots of.
Okay.
And, to clarify with setbacks, you're also referring to road frontage or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The front, the sides would all be the same as the A and R zone.
So the density is lot size, and the lot size for A and R is 1.86, is that what you said, Angela?
Well, it's,
80,000 square feet.
80,000 square feet,
80,000 square feet, and
Right.
the other one is 120,000
what he's proposing.
frozen.
right.
It's our,
So, to move this forward, you would have to host another public
Public
hearing
hearing.
on, this, proposed amendment specifically.
okay.
And then it would, your recommendation after the public hearing would be forwarded to the select board. They would host their own public hearing and then make a decision.
Okay.
Can I ask, what would be the gain of doing this? What would be the plus side of it, in your
The
opinion?
gain would be to allow the people who live in the F and A zone more flexibility as far as selling land for paying taxes, buildability. It's, you know, I'm a land surveyor and I am constantly asked, why are the setbacks 100 feet back from
Right.
the road?
Right, I remember you mentioning that, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it would be helpful for the board, and it would have been helpful at the previous public hearing if we heard from those people that you're hearing
Yeah.
from that are for this change, instead of the dozens of people that showed up that were against. I think if we heard, and the public heard maybe their side in their words, Steve, not saying that you're not bringing a valid point, but they're not hearing from their neighbors and why they want that change.
Right.
yeah, and I don't think they really heard what I was saying last meeting.
Oh, they heard you.
No,
They may not have
not the
listened.
good parts. Not the good parts.
But I think that may help. If this is going to change, I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, or what our place is in that decision, but we hear about these people that are asking these questions, yet none of them came.
Right.
And I think it would help if they
Okay, well,
they stood up
on
and.
the info meeting, I'll
Yeah,
gather up a posse.
yeah, just a couple, or even, you know, have them write an email and, you know, if they can't attend.
Yeah,
I
just
would like to
think-
see him show up in person, honestly, because that way people could ask them questions, because
Right, if
There's a
it
lot of-
wasn't available. for
there's a
them
lot
to
of
do.
negative people here, there was a lot of negative side to it, and I think, even as a board, I think it'd be good to be able to ask this person, you know, why they think it's good, I mean, but I don't know.
Well, they're not the people being questioned as part of the public hearing, though.
Right.
Correct? I mean, it's not fair for us to put a citizen up here who's gonna speak in the public hearing for the crowd to be able to ask questions of them.
Right. So just as somebody who's gonna field these questions,
Yeah,
Right.
continually fields these questions, and maybe my math is not mathing, but if somebody's got 5 acres, the minimum current F and A zone, and you wanna reduce a building lot to 3 acres, they still can't sell anything, because if they're splitting a 5 acre lot down to 120,000 square feet, and we're requiring
no,
3 acres, they'd have to have 6 acres to be able to sell something.
correct, but if they have 10 acres, then they could divide the lot where they really can't now, or 9.5 acres, where they can at this point.
So
They
it's
would-
But,
still-
I mean,
So it doesn't work for a 5 acre.
it doesn't work for a 5 acre
No.
piece.
right.
but there's not, I mean, there are a lot of 5 acre lots, but there are a lot of much larger lots out there too.
Okay, just because I'm gonna be, you know, on the other end of the phone with people asking questions, I need
Right.
to make sure that
Yeah,
I have a full understanding.
Like
of
he
it.
said, it's probably people that have larger parcels of property that wanna do something, you know, if somebody has 5 acres, they're probably not gonna wanna split it in half,
Right,
but
right.
And
But if they have 10 or 15 or 20 or more, I can understand that. So if they split it, it would still be AR zone, correct? It would still, I mean, F and A,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It
Yeah.
would still, it wouldn't change
No,
zone.
it
Correct.
wouldn't change zone.
It would just be allowed a 3 acre minimum. They split it down to 4 or 5.
Right.
It still meets the, it can be 3 or more,
Just-
obviously.
something to think about too, is just how this might interact with the state
That's what I was
mandated
wondering.
changes,
Right.
so,
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
in the F and A zone, based on how LD 1829 is written now, and I know that for a fact they're already proposing edits to it in the next session to fix some of the things that were, worded not correctly in this session. Not to make substantive changes, at least that's what I've heard so far, but, you would be able to put 3 units anywhere you allow 1 unit, so LD, 1820, a few years ago, or 1802, whatever it was, allowed you to put 2 units anywhere you had 1. Now this will be 3 anywhere you have 1 in your rural areas, so you would already get 3 units per 5 acres. And it also prohibits the provision that Waterboro does have, in your ordinance, so that would have to change, that you need, the same amount of minimum lot for your additional units as you do for your first unit, so it makes that kind of loophole, no longer possible. So, based on LD 1829, it would be 3 units per 5 acres, and then, 200 feet road frontage for all 3 units if 3 were built, and same with the setbacks, you can't require additional setback or frontage for the additional units.
So it's only 200, even though there's 3 houses there,
Yeah.
right? You can't
Correct.
require it to be 600 now that there's 3
Right.
houses.
Yeah.
And that
That
would
would
be
be-
sellable after they build 3?
That would be one piece of property, though.
Yeah,
It would
well,
stay.
so.
This is the
That's
part
the
that I
difference
need to
between
know.
the two, right?
Yes, so in that situation, either one owner would have to, rent all 3, or own 2
Two,
and
or-
rent 1, or
right.
whatever. Or they would have to enter into a condo agreement where they have separate owners, but share the land jointly. So it would be different in that the lot itself would remain a minimum lot size of 5 acres, but the overall unit density would be similar. So, it's a kind of a different approach to density
All
in
the
that
time.
sense.
over on Federal Street is
Mhm.
this
It's true.
condoized,
Yes.
whereas the people own the building, but they share the land.
Share the land, yeah.
What'd you say?
All the
So,
lines.
Alden
Alden
Pines,
Pines.
Sylvia Circle, over off Federal Street,
Hmm.
just beyond the real sharp turn, is this condoized type situation where the individuals own the house, but the condo association, homeowners association
Owns the
property.
land.
No, I thought one of the differences in the new law was the fact that they had either omitted or didn't address the fact that the lot needed to be owned by the same person. Is that,
For ADUs, they
oh, just
prohibit, yeah.
ADUs, okay,
Yeah, they
okay.
prohibit municipalities from saying you have to live on a lot in order to have an ADU.
Gotcha, okay, that's what it was.
You don't know.
So, in the 11th hour that they rammed this through,
Right,
right, they had a lot of screw-ups.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not unlike the previous
right, right,
Ryan Fecto
yeah.
bill.
Right, okay.
But this is gonna solve the housing problem.
Of course it
in the
is,
state.
absolutely, yes.
No,
So it is interesting, because that was a lot of the discussion from the public, right? Was not wanting to look at all these houses, not
Right.
wanting, all these things, and it just really doesn't even matter.
Right, cause you can put 3 houses on 6
Right,
acres.
right,
So the people that wanna do this can, and the people that don't have to. The zoning really isn't changed. It's just what's mandated now. or next year,
By
or
this-
whenever.
Right, which was what your argument was in the first place, right?
Right.
Was the fact that if I wanna keep my 20 acres, I keep my 20 acres.
Yep,
Guy next to me though wants to do something different with theirs, that's what they're gonna do, and
yep.
we've kinda come full circle to that in a way,
Right,
right?
because it's not in us changing the zoning
Exactly.
anymore. It
Yeah.
has
Right.
nothing to do with the town.
Right,
Yeah, and it's, my whole, issue here is not necessarily with more housing.
right,
It's more flexibility for the people that own land.
The
Sure.
And it's
saleability.
the saleability, and it's still their choice.
right, right.
So, you know, this whole thing about, in the last meeting, where people saying, oh, we don't wanna turn Waterboro into Bedford, you know,
Right,
with all those
right.
homes, well, the state's
State
doing
just
that
did
for
that
us.
for you.
Exactly.
State's doing that,
Yeah.
right?
But I don't know if they, because we barely touched on that. I think Mike said change was coming very briefly through that whole thing, but it didn't get,
No, we
people
didn't get
don't
into
know.
it.
Right,
We didn't get
Right.
into it at all. And I'm sure 90% of the people that were in this room have no idea what just passed.
Right,
right,
I mean, I've told a couple people, and they're like, what?
Well, the state wants to control your zone,
Right.
right.
the zone.
mhm.
right. Well, I'm still struggling with LD 2003, which allows
So are we.
another, just one ADU
ADU.
on a piece of property. When customers come to me and they have, you know, issues with that, I say, go see Mike.
Right.
Go talk to Mike.
And that's the state allowing it.
Yeah,
Like Dennis said, it's gonna fix this housing issue, but it's not really.
Mm-mm.
So, is it of value at this public hearing to do a brief summary of the new state law? Is that stretching it a little, or?
Do we introduce that now?
It's gonna open up a big can of worms, but you don't have a choice, I don't think.
But at least let them know it's coming
Yeah,
down
so,
the pipe,
you know.
because as Dennis said, there's,
Yeah.
and Michaela, there's gonna be many, many changes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Put a
so,
change management.
I'm just wondering, as part of the presentation of the public hearing, right, where we just went through all those maps, is
yeah.
that part of what we present to the crowd, is to say, okay,
This
Inform
is-
them.
we're changing this, but just so you understand, this is out of our control.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
mean,
already
it's kind of-
happened, right?
It's kind of tricky because,
yeah.
you know, Steve's
It's
here
been
before
passed, but it's
that,
being modified.
before that is effective.
Right.
Um, But the planner in me is thinking, okay, we're gonna be doing this ordinance audit of your entire zoning and subdivision ordinances to make recommendations for how to clean up the process, how to clean up, things that are missing, how to add, you know, consistency where there might be consistency lacking, you know, where are best practice recommendations that are not in the zoning ordinance, and also looking at your, you know, your zones and like, does this align with your comp plan, and is this producing like the vision of the community that the community has, et cetera. And so with all that coming, and with the mandated changes from the state, it feels a little piecemeal to make a slight change to one zone when pretty much every single zone is gonna have to be relooked at and
Right.
reworked in some
Right.
way. However, like, this is an application before the town now, and if the townspeople are in favor of smaller lots and F&A, then, you know, they have a right to help make that change happen. So it's kind of tricky because,
But we don't wanna make a change now, and then,
Have it undone.
right, and
I
it
do.
wouldn't, I'm assuming, well, as
No,
it
it
sits
would
now,
just change
but
it,
it could
so-
change.
I mean, the big difference would be that once LD 1829 is implemented in the F&A zone, as it's written now, you would have 3 units per 5 acres, and if it changed to 120,000 square feet, you'd have 3 units per 120,000 square feet allowed. So
So it could impact density.
it would impact us.
Yeah.
Definitely would.
Right.
Yeah, but you're also allowed 3 units in village zone, are you not?
They are.
As long as it's a legal lot.
You're
And you meet
allowed
setbacks.
4
Yeah,
in the village based
Yeah.
on the new law.
on one lot,
Right.
which
But
is
that-
an acre.
And the law, well, the law also mandates minimum lot size, so the village minimum lot size would decrease to 20,000 square feet. Everywhere, everywhere you have a growth area would go down to 20,000 square feet.
That's a minimum lot. can't put
It's
four houses on a
huge
half
changes,
acre.
I mean, the
Oh.
bill will
We
change
better start talking
every
about public
zone.
sewer.
Is that a challenge?
No,
Yeah.
no,
Right?
we cannot have public sewer, never.
Move Southern Maine, get a grant.
Oh, this is a great question. So we've heard from some folks at the state that they're working on rolling out, funding for municipalities to make these changes. And advocating for upfront funding, because with LD 2003, it was reimbursement based, which is a lot harder for the small towns to actually do the work. It's a barrier still, like, well, I can't fork out 10 grand to begin with, so we're just not gonna do this. That happened a lot. But we advocated for, more money and for it to be an upfront grant rather than a reimbursement to make these changes. So we're hoping that that happens. The reception was positive, and there was a lot of different planners from around the state on that call who were saying that that needed to happen, so we're hopeful. We should be finding out in January about rulemaking based on this and about funding for 1829. So we'll know more in January is really the best that I have on those two things. But you'll have to vote in June, so it's tight
Right.
timeframe.
Well, there's no vote. The town council now controls the zoning laws.
Right, the town council will vote.
Right.
Yeah. If you were still town meeting, you would have an extra year.
Right.
Yeah, but no longer. Which I think I misspoke that last time when I was.
So in the meantime, what do we do with Steve? We still have to move forward to a public.
We still have to.
Yeah,
public
we
hearing.
still have to move forward to the public hearing, and I think I will put together whatever information the board thinks is fair and appropriate for that meeting.
Concerning LD 1829, you mean?
Okay.
And zoning and land use in general,
Sure.
what you think the public needs to understand.
So we would make that part of the public hearing is, here's what's happened with the state of Maine. What we know to this point.
I think no one knows.
No.
Right.
No.
Some do, they have inklings, I think it was mentioned in the public hearing last time, and a couple were like, we don't know nothing about that, we need to know more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave them the bill numbers to
Right.
look up.
Yeah.
I think it would be definitely beneficial.
And usually,
They're gonna have a better understanding
Mm-hmm.
of what
Yeah.
we're facing, instead
Right.
of just saying, no, get out, Steve.
And we're just doing a general
Correct.
notice, we're not
Kinda
doing
how it went.
individual mailing.
We're
Yeah,
not,
exactly.
you said that.
Public hearing,
No.
right?
Yeah,
Normal
no
public hearing.
Yeah, just an open invitation to all.
yeah, I can put together some slides outlining the area and what would change and what wouldn't, kind of using the former slides,
Yeah.
but
So this is where you wouldn't have to invite everyone, Angela, right? This is just everybody in
Whoever
general.
sees the notice, they
Okay.
can go.
Okay,
It's voluntary.
thank you.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest thing is how long you need to prepare.
whew, that's a great question. I'm out of town on the 17th. I'm in Providence for a conference. So the one after that would be October 1st, which I could make work. And I could also do the 15th.
I couldn't get anything published until next week. Cause the deadline is Tuesdays.
I think the first is too soon.
I was gonna say 15th might be.
Yeah, because I think we need to let it
I'm on
run
15th 'cause I'm on vacation that week.
at least a couple
Big
meetings.
hands.
I'm on vacation that week, so you guys.
Well, last time, didn't we reach out to all the landowners that were in the, so we'll have to do that again?
No,
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 it's
this is just
not
waiting
It's
for
townwide.
gonna
the
be a
hearing.
townwide,
Right, and we said that in the last meeting, that we're gonna do a public hearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that
And
they
they
need to
are
look at their newspapers
Yes.
and whatever
they are
time.
still checking
Yeah.
back too,
Yeah.
so.
So you won't be here on the
I
fifteenth?
won't be here on the week of the fifteenth.
So that, we just need to make sure that everybody else is here so that we have a quorum.
Which meeting you won't be here, this next month?
15th,
I
October
will be here.
15th.
Oh,
That
October
week I'm
15th.
We just need to make sure that all the rest of us are here.
I can't think that far ahead.
We'll call you again. I'll pick you up.
I know I will be here.
I will too.
I should be.
Jill? Yes. She's on.
So October 15th?
Sound good?
Do you need a motion to move it to holiday?
Is that good on that one? On our next step? We're good?
Next up?
Yep, thank you very much. Next, under old business, Waterboro street design and construction ordinance.
All right, so this was something that was starting to be worked on before I started being a planner here. I guess there were some issues with some private ways and things like emergency vehicle access and, concerns once LD 2003 was passed with, basically having more, since it enabled more units on lots, that you would have more driving up and down, you know, what was formerly a very, minorly improved private way, that, you know, functioned more like a driveway, and that was gonna cause problems in the long term. And so, we started looking at the street ordinance to update it and establish some standards for private ways, and also just kind of clarify a few things, add more definitions, and clarify a bit the procedures, for accepting townways or town roads or private roads. And then, updating, some of the design criteria for public roads and private ways. Updating the minimum safe site distances, updating minimum widths and, sidewalk information, and addressing back lot access. So there's a lot more to it than what used to be in the street design ordinance, and, I think there's a lot to go through, so I don't think we're looking for any sort of decisions today. I think we just wanna start going through it and see what you guys think, what changes still need to be made before we like where it's at, and see how we wanna move forward.
So probably wanna do that workshop. Right, makes sense to.
Might wanna hold off until we have discussions
The end of the month.
with Gordon Thistlewood and Jason and Matt
Okay.
That's the private
with
road.
the town council on all of these roads that were closed in 1955. Because they didn't close them correctly, or whatever the case may be. So we've got Ben McCall coming, Thistlewood coming, so we're gonna have a lengthy discussion workshop with both of them. And,
Okay.
Is that just the selectmen doing that?
well, we certainly can invite any member of the planning board that wants to join, but,
September
You know.
30th at 5 o'clock.
so it's, points, like, Nathan Smith Road has become the, kind of the tripping point, because somebody blocked the road off, and then people don't like the road blocked up. So, anyway, and I think what Thistlewood went and told him that he could block the road because it still had public access, so.
This has been a 2-month project between
But-
the 1955 meetings, the county commissioners meetings and
What about, isn't there a state council that's been created to address all of this at the state level?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think it was formed,
Whatever
yeah,
they do, they'll screw it up.
right, I think it was formed last year as a result of an incident in Cornish
Yep.
that got brought to the state superior court, and that's what their ruling was to create this state committee, and I had started reading the minutes when it was first formed.
Nice
and
idea, but
There wasn't, yeah, and that's what it was, there was a lot of nothing that was in the minutes and stuff, so.
So hold off,
we have a number of roads, Ospey Hill Extension,
Sure,
McLucas.
Down Hill Road.
Lucas,
yeah,
so we need to deal with them all.
sure, yep. So that's,
So
so we'll hold
we
off
might-
until,
We might,
yeah,
but you might wanna hold off on
okay,
street design till we get,
more information,
yeah.
gotcha. Okay,
It's fine with me.
well, we'll postpone until further notice, how about that, and then we'll figure out how to proceed. In the meantime, just everybody, take your time and read it, and formulate questions and. we
And
can
there's
adjust them.
still some things in there that we were kind of cleaning up as staff
Sure.
and figuring out, so.
Okay.
Alright, I think that takes care of old business then. Next is new business, we didn't have any. Next is minutes of previous meetings, we had the June 18th, 2025 minutes, which was
the book.
a lot to take in. I had, based on my recollection of the session,
Oh, that was the meeting.
the meeting, yeah, yeah.
Damn,
A lot of information there to take in.
yeah.
So if I could get a motion, if there's no edits, if I could get a motion to
Sure.
accept the minutes from June 18th.
I'll make
I
a,
motion to accept those minutes from June 18th.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Alright. Next, communication, we have Hollis subdivision review update.
So I'll start and then Angela can supplement whatever I say. I pulled together a meeting with the Hollis town manager, planning board chair, although it was the vice chair that was able to attend. Angela, I invited Matt, though he wasn't able to attend. And Ben McCall, he's the lawyer for both towns. And Jamel Torres, who's my boss at SMPDC, and myself. And am I leaving anyone out? Okay, I think that was everyone, to discuss this, because I wanted to make sure that since, both towns are in the SMPDC region and we share the same lawyer, that, we're talking through how the process is supposed to go. So, Ben did confirm that as a subdivision, as it crosses, into your boundaries, that both planning boards have to be present at every meeting until one board decides, until and if one board decides that they don't feel like they need to, and they basically just put in writing that they don't feel like they need to be there and have joint meetings. And looking at their plan, we all kind of observed that since so little of the land to be developed is in Waterboro, if the applicant just simply adjusted the boundaries of their subdivision to not cross into Waterboro, that would probably make the most sense for the applicant
Right.
moving forward, because they're not planning to do anything with that and they're not allowed to use land in Waterboro to meet density requirements in Hollis or
Sure.
vice versa.
Right.
So we're not really sure why it was kind of structured like that to begin with. So Angela's forwarded, the materials and asked for some information from the applicant, and the engineer said they'd get back to us eventually with what the applicant decided.
Yeah, he's at this point, so one of the options was given that we do simultaneous review between both towns, or the applicant, the owner takes the piece that's in Waterboro, divides it into its own parcel, so to speak, so it doesn't even have any bearing or attachment to the piece that's in Hollis. And then we wouldn't review it because that no longer carries over. It's a totally separate parcel, not even involved in the subdivision, or we go, review until you guys decide this doesn't pertain to us, or waive review, or they have to apply and continue simultaneous. You guys would also, our board would, if you guys went through the whole process all the way to, approval, you would submit a findings of facts to him. Hollis would submit findings of facts. At this point, the applicant has not decided which avenue he's going to take, whether he does simultaneous review or chunks that off into its own parcel, not attached to the subdivision plan.
We also confirmed that if an amendment came, from the applicant later on and say they wanted to now develop the piece that's in Waterboro, even though if you decided to recuse yourself from the rest of this process, it doesn't mean you couldn't have a say in the amendment.
Right.
And in that case, Hollis would also have a say, even if the developed piece in a later phase was only affecting Waterboro, just kind of reverse situation of what it is now.
Sure.
So they would, have the choice to review or to kind of waive their right to review.
Gotcha, would flip it.
It would flip.
Okay.
I
So-
personally hope he just divides it.
Chunks it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that makes
Yeah.
the most
That
sense.
makes
Yeah.
a lot
Me
more
too.
sense.
We'll see what he does.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're just,
Simplify.
Waiting to hear.
waiting to hear back, on what he decides to do.
Okay. Sounds good. Anything else in the communication? Miscellaneous? Nothing? That leaves adjournment. Get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Those in favor? All right.